At 4ZZZ, we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we broadcast. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging of the Turrbal and Jagera people. We acknowledge that their sovereignty over this land was never ceded.
And we stand in solidarity with them.
You're listening to Tranzmission on 4ZZZ, amplifying the trans and gender non-conforming voices of Brisbane and beyond.
Hello and good morning, beautiful people. You're listening to Tranzmission on 4ZZZ. And with me today also is...
Hi, my name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns.
Hello, I'm Ray. I use they, them pronouns.
Hi, and I use she, her pronouns. Probably should have said that at the start. I hope you're all having a beautiful morning, and we're ready to get talking trans stuff. Hey.
Trans stuff.
That's the way. As I found out just before I started speaking that you've got some news to talk about.
I do. I have news. Well, there's actually quite a few pieces of news, but we can spread it out through the show depending on how we feel. I don't know. The first one that we'll go cover up on, I'll give you a little bit of a trigger warning for any of our trans and genderverse listeners. If you're feeling particularly sensitive or not feeling like up for some heavy news, there is some, going to talk about some heavy things in the news this morning, but there are some positive things in there too, so with your own discretion, I suppose. So, first of all, Queensland's puberty blockers review. The Queensland Government's panel reviewing the use of puberty blockers and hormone therapies for transgender youth has faced significant criticism for transgender advocates. The 7-member panel, comprising 3 medical specialists and 4 academics, lacks experts in gender-affirming care and individuals with lived experience in trans healthcare. Eloise Brooke, CEO of the Australian Professional Associations for Trans Health, highlighted the panel's lack of relevant expertise, comparing it to a cardiac services review without cardiologists. Ren Shaik from the LGBT Legal Service and Jackie Turner of the Trans Justice Project echoed these concerns, emphasising the importance of including trans voices and relevant clinical experts to ensure the review's credibility and inclusiveness. In response, Queensland Health defended the panel's composition, stating that members were selected based on their specialist expertise and that the review would be conducted in a considered and evidence-based manner. The department also noted that that public submissions are welcome and that additional reviewers may be appointed if necessary. Currently, the state government has paused new hormone therapy treatments for minors in the public system pending the review's outcome. Although nearly 600 existing patients can continue their care, the review is scheduled to conclude by the 30th of November 2025. Love when they talk about us without us. Gosh, it's really nice.
Yeah, and not at all a very common feeling.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not sick of this feeling.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We don't know what we're talking about. We just are the ones receiving the healthcare, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've been pissed off about this part of my language for a while now.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's been a long time that we've been talking about this, as they called it, temporary ban, and it's still going on. It's going to be going on till November, they say, but I mean, who knows? There's a million reasons it could continue on as well. We've got a lot of reasons to be angry about this.
Yes, and who knows? It might be lifted sooner, depending on, I believe there is actually a court case addressing how this act came into place so suddenly with only, I think it was a 20-minute meeting that Tim Nichols had without any transgender consultation or any real consultation for that matter. So we shall see, pending.
Yeah. Totally.
In other news, would you like to read some news, Hazel?
Oh my god.
Yeah?
Wow, yeah, sure, I'll read some stuff. Let's talk about trans sports. It's not as scary as it sounds. Simone Biles slams Riley Gaines over attacks on trans athletes. So Olympic gymnastics legend Simone Biles has publicly criticised former collegiate swimmer Riley Gaines for her ongoing attacks on transgender athletes. The dispute intensified after Gaines mocked the Minnesota State High School League for celebrating Champlain Park High School girls' softball championship, which included a transgender player. Gaines referred to the athlete as a boy and ridiculed the league for disabling comments on the post. Biles responded on social media labelling Gaines as truly sick and a sore loser, referencing Gaines' tie for 5th place with transgender swimmer Leah Thomas in 2022 NCAA championships. I'm just going to cut in and say, by the way, 5th place tie terrible. Also, it was a huge competition with thousands and thousands of swimmers. It's absolutely absurd that she was calling that losing a medal. Also, the athlete that tied with her offered to not accept the medal as well. It's a whole thing. Sorry. Biles urged Gaines to support inclusivity in sports or consider creating new avenues where transgender athletes feel safe rather than targeting individuals. Gaines, who has become a prominent critic of transgender inclusion in women's sports, fired back, calling Biles' remarks so disappointing and reiterating her stance that men don't belong in women's sports. Her activism has included lobbying against transgender participation in women's sports and aligning with conservative figures. Biles' comments have drawn both support and criticism, with some praising her for defending marginalised athletes and promoting inclusive discourse, whilst others accuse her of undermining women's sports. Despite the backlash, Biles has not retracted her statements, maintaining her position on promoting inclusivity in athletics. Isn't that lovely? I mean, Simone Biles is a living legend, one of the best to ever do it, so it's nice to see such high-level support. I mean, there's stakes
Such
to that.
praise. Yeah, no, I wanted to highlight this story because I really quite like Simone Biles. Although she is like a mega wealthy, super athletic star now.
Of course. But I mean, at least when someone is wealthy for something like that, they did put in work for it.
Well, they gave up their entire life.
Yeah,
to dedicate to this one thing.
Amen.
As a former athlete, I see that. So that's very cool. Also, yeah, totally. Riley Gaines, like, come on now.
There's been a lot of grifters over time. May I call her a grifter? There's been many people who have had legitimate or illegitimate means for claiming that trans people are marginalising them. Hers has got to be one of the weakest platforms I've seen in a while. Coming equal place, not first. Not losing it. I'm actually losing words for it because it's kind of shockingly minor, the thing that
also,
she's freaked out over.
Gaines being like, so disappointing that Biles supports trans people. I'm like, aren't you your dad? Isn't your parents so disappointed in you for not even, whatever. Why don't you focus on what you're doing and not everybody else?
How about you win a competition? Sorry, that was mean.
I wasn't not going to say that, but...
How many genders are there?
I don't know. I just got here.
That's Gaines.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know anything about anything.
Well, bit of light, bit of dark. We love news.
Yeah, we do. Amplifying the voices of the trans and gender non-conforming community of Meanjin, Brisbane and beyond.
Transmission on 4ZZZ brings you the latest in trans community news, music and events.
Every Tuesday from 9am till 10am.
Join our team of hosts for an hour of celebrating the unique perspectives of the trans community.
Transmission, Tuesday mornings from 9am till 10am on 4ZZZ. My name is Ez. I use he, him pronouns.
My name is Ray. I use they, them pronouns.
Hi, my name's Hazel. I use she, her pronouns.
And we're talking some news.
We have more news for you. We have earned our spots facing Trump ban. Trans troops reflect on military service. Transgender service members are confronting the challenges posed by the reinstated ban on their military service. Second Lieutenant Nicholas Talbot emphasises that transgender individuals have rightfully earned their positions and accolades through dedication and performance. He notes that transgender status often goes unnoticed by colleagues unless they choose to disclose it, highlighting that competence and duty fulfillment are paramount in military settings. Chief Petty Officer Ryan Goodell commends Talbot's commitment to continued service despite the ban, describing it as a testament to selflessness and discipline, qualities essential in the military. The segment underscores the belief among transgender service members that their contributions and professionalism validate their place in the armed forces. The Trump administration's policy, enacted through Executive Order 14183, mandates the disqualification and removal of transgender individuals from military service, citing concerns over unit cohesion and readiness. The policy reverses previous inclusivity measures and affects thousands of active duty transgender personnel. While some service members have opted for voluntary separation to retain benefits, others, like Talbot, choose to remain, asserting their right to serve based on merit and dedication. Legal challenges against the ban are ongoing, with advocates arguing that it undermines the principles of equality and disregards the proven capabilities of transgender troops. The situation has created uncertainty and concern within the military community as affected individuals navigate the implications of the policy on their careers and lives.
Much to chew on there.
Could all the trans people just leave and start their own trans boot camp, and then we have our own little,
I'm listening.
guerrilla
I'm listening.
force?
That wouldn't be fair because we have a biological advantage
We
against
do!
other armies, as you know.
Well, maybe they should consider keeping them. Then.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I'm confused about. Like previously, when we talk about sports, like we have a biological advantage, and we're clearly like, harder, faster, stronger, or whatever. And then,
Sorry,
when we're
Daft
talking,
Punk just started.
right.
Yeah, work it, make it, so on. Yeah.
But then, like, as soon as it's the military, it's like, you're weak. No.
Yeah, ain't that the way?
Pick and choose. What are we? Are we overpowered or underpowered?
It is interesting, though, to, see transness in a context where your personal identity is secondary to your communal identity. Because when you're in a military context, the idea is you put that identity ahead of everything personal to you.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see now that they're trying to sort of put a culture war thing into the military like this, that the response is kind of like, I don't really want to be firing people left and right. I mean, they work fine. Let them stay there, because with the military, we want
them, right?
we want people that work well to already be here to stay here. That's the way it works, right?
Yeah, they're not causing any problem. If there ain't a problem, don't fix it.
Yeah,
It's that sort of situation.
It's not the kind of place nowadays. Mostly, it's not the kind of place that you can just sort of rock up and ride your way to the top. Because the woke police said you should. If you show up and you can't crack it, that's it. You don't stick around. So if someone is trans and in high ranks in the military, they earned that. They worked pretty hard to get there. So it seems absurd to imply that they've got any lack of capacity due to a gender identity.
Totally. And what's absolutely certain is that women are not strong enough in any circumstance. That's what I hear.
Yeah, well, that's
what I'm hearing.
That is what
women are weak. Full stop. There we go.
That's what the Trump cabinet was literally saying on the news. So it's not a huge shock at all that they didn't have a complex opinion on trans people in the military either.
Yeah, complexity, not something that is good for
doesn't
smooth
suit fascism.
brains.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I do love some nuance. Would be nice to see.
Hey, if you're a nuance addict, text on in. Tell us your love of nuance.
Yeah. Let us know how much you love nuance.
Yeah.
And how that plays its role in your life.
In 5 words or less. We want a clean binary opinion on nuance.
And then we'll join them all together and make them into a poem.
And we'll generalize it as well. I like... Yes! Oh my god, we'll do readings of it.
Yeah. Dramatically.
Okay. Also, in news, other than the trans guerrilla group that I'm going to try and form, is trans-owned beauty and laser salons are set to open across so-called Australia in the next month. So just a little disclaimer as well. We are not sponsored by this business. This is just something that has popped up in community that we thought would be amazing to share and for you all to know, particularly if you're a trans person who's seeking any kind of beauty or laser treatment. So, yeah, Live More, or Live More, rather, a trans-owned beauty and laser clinic network is set to launch locations in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Perth starting July 2025. Founded by Liv, the business aims to provide affordable, safe and accessible gender-affirming cosmetic treatments for the transgender community. Liv's personal experiences with discrimination, discomfort in traditional beauty clinics inspired the creation of Live More. The clinics will offer services such as laser and electrolysis hair removal, PRP facials, tattoo removal, and microneedling for hair growth, all administered by trans practitioners. Future plans include expanding into nail and hair extensions. Live More distinguishes itself through a radical transparency and ethical practices in industry often criticized for being franchised and monopolized. Technicians operate as subcontractors with control over their schedules, and their earnings are transparently listed on the clinic's website. The clinics avoid upselling aftercare products or offering package deals, instead focusing on individualized care plans and recommending affordable options. Located within LGBTQIA+ business hubs or allied health clinics, Live More collaborates with various health professionals and NDIS providers, aiming to create a comprehensive support network for the trans community. And their bookings are available now. So, Live More's website, where you can, treatments commencing next month. So check that out.
I don't even want anything removed, but I now do, just based on that.
You'll do it for the community.
Yeah, I'll do it for the community. I'll get a small patch of hair removed just so that I can support them. But that's absolutely fantastic.
It's exciting. I'm definitely, talking from the trans femme side of things. I haven't gone for any procedures, but the amount of time I've wasted just scrolling through Reddit for testimonies on different clinics on whether or not they're trans positive. Because when you're looking at removing hair from any kind of place on the body, you start to wonder, is the person doing it, zapping me with lasers or using needles or whatever, someone who's going to be comfortable with the way that I'm shaped, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or comfortable with what you're asking for.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it's very... because the way it is, very few of these clinics are open about whether or not they are actually supportive, and you kind of have to rely on people who have just taken the plunge and they say, oh yeah, this place is all right. And that's scary. So the idea that you've got one here that is, so transparent, so open, so ready to cater for you as a trans person is very, very cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the fact that they have, with their technicians operating as subcontractors and being able to have control over their own schedules, that's huge.
Ethical.
It's God, isn't that awful?
Wow, what a holistic approach to your business plan.
Yeah, ethics. Do you want to text in about ethics?
What's your opinion on ethics? This time we don't want nuance.
Oh gosh, this episode, what a lot of fun. And we're about to chat about trans characters in anime and or cartoons and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier last week, Ez was talking to me about a really cool manga he was reading.
Yes.
But does not want to report his feelings on until he has finished it, which is valid. I love that. You don't want to misrepresent anything ever. So that got me on just a little research rabbit hole where I was like, what is trans representation like in Japanese media, in anime and manga and stuff like that? I'm just going to say it right now. I ended up getting fairly sad researching this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of cool stuff. But man, when you look into anything, not just Japanese media, but older media representation of trans people, there's always a few caveats that come with everything. But I thought, what could be cool is I'm just going to go through some notable, interesting vintage... Well, we call it vintage now. Sorry for the older listeners.
Sorry for people in their 50s.
Yeah, I will be including something from the 80s in vintage. My bad. But
feel old. No, carry on.
Yeah, talking about occurrences of transness, whether or not it's labelled as such, or just things that trans people liked, because that's how it works, right?
We claimed it.
Yeah, so here's a manga from 1953 called Princess Knight. The main character, Sapphire. They're the protagonist, and they sort of have a magical contrivance for how they have their gender-changing powers, which is that they possess both a male and female heart within themselves, and they can swap between the genders as their power.
That is
pretty
very
cool.
Doctor Who, and I'm into it.
It so is. Oh, I love that.
Should we get David Tennant? I reckon he could do it.
You know what? I think I don't like that they didn't commit, because here's the thing. Sometimes when the Doctor regenerates, the next Doctor will be in that Doctor's clothes, and they'll be like, oh, weird outfit, haha.
They didn't commit, yeah.
You see, because when we had the first female Doctor, she wakes up and she's in male clothes, and she's like, huh. But then we go back from female to male, and suddenly his clothes change. Oh, come on.
No, men should be out there wearing crop tops and heels. Go off.
Exactly. And I know
I
David
want a perv on you.
Yeah. And
Please?
I know David Tennant would be fine with it. He could rock a dress. He could rock a skirt. He'd be fine.
I think he has in one of his theatre performances, stage performances.
I
bet it was Shakespeare or something, right?
Yes, it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Shakespearean play. Yes.
And they did do it with Chudigatwa and stuff like that, and they did it for that purpose as well, where he regenerates already wearing a skirt, and now it's female and wearing a skirt. So they kind of did it in reverse, and I respect that. I just want to see more skinny old white men in skirts and dresses, I guess is what I'm saying.
I can see David's hand flying up in the air going, pick me!
Yeah, me! But moving right along to the 1970s, 1972, we've got an anime called Gatchaman. And a little minor trigger warning, this is not the greatest representation, but we have a villain called Berg, Katse, who is male and female, merged in the womb. Like twins merged in the womb, creating a gender fluid character. Pretty sick, but unfortunately does not have a great ending. Is unmasked and revealed, called a freak of nature, and then kills themselves. So it's pretty sad.
Oh, that is sad.
It is, but I can tell you guys happily in the remake, they kind of. Well, they omit the whole gender fluid thing, which kind of sucks. But they also omit the whole, outing and suicide thing too. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, we'll just completely wash that out of the character entirely.
Like, is the character there at all?
Well, the character is I think presents interestingly in the remake, but it's not so much part of their origin anymore. You know what I mean? But then we can move on to a much more interesting option, and this is one that I'm sure any of the Japanese media inclined listeners would know about, is Ranma Half, which is this male character has a magical hot spring incident that leaves them subject to gender change when doused with hot or cold water.
Wow, where is this hot spring?
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm going to book a flight real quick.
Would we like to go on a road trip together?
Just going to keep a thermos of hot water with me at all times. Don't ask me why.
Does it? Oh no, I have so many questions. Sorry, you continue.
Which is interesting. I haven't watched the show, so forgive me for not knowing the complexities for how this is represented on the show. It is one of those shows. It's older, so it gets a bit pervy at times, as you expect. It's a fairly racy, comedic kind of show. But it's also a show that sort of presents a lot of this as a bit of a, it's a curse. It's a problem. It's something the character doesn't like. Alongside that, obviously there's homoeroticism in there as well, because now this is a girl who's got the brain of a guy who's liking other girls, and now it's ooh, we've got complexity, we've got foils, but also the show's doesn't that suck? And that's led me to a really interesting quote here that I think you may resonate with. This is from Charlotte Finn of Lost in Translation. When Ranma is doused with cold water, Ranma winds up with a body of and a social status that feels wrong, and which Ranma plainly doesn't want. Much like how many transgender people feel physical and social dysphoria, a feeling of disconnect or being out of sync with one's body or social role. Ranma isn't a boy who turns into a girl. Ranma is a cisgender boy who turns into a transgender boy. And I think that's very interesting. So, finding the transness not in the fact that the character shifts, but finding transness in the fact that the character is now in a body that they don't agree with and that they don't feel comfortable in, and finding connection in that side of things.
So, actually, it's almost like if we forced femme... it's being
literally
forced feminized, essentially.
It's a popular trope.
I have questions. If I had a thing of water that I carried with me, and if I poured the water but only on sections of myself, would those parts be the only parts that change? Because if that's the case, I'm down for that. That could be fun.
This is I used to. I think I have evidence to back this up, because I had. Yeah, I know.
You know where the spring is?
Yeah.
No, but I had a doll called Shaving Ken when I was a kid, and his beard would either it would appear if you put cold water on, and then if you put hot water, if you shaved him with hot water, it would disappear.
Oh my god.
So yes, but only on your face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's evidence to support. Obviously, I'm joking,
cool.
but...
So that's pour the water on your face, beard disappears.
Yeah.
Not boiling, of course. But
No. Warm.
Is...
Just shaving tips generally, really. Use warm water.
Yeah. This is how the Barbie movie could have really had some trans representation, is if they included Shaving Ken in there.
Okay, 100% agree. It was literally one of the things I said when I walked out. Yes.
That's great. But yeah, I mean, that last one there kind of leads me on to the idea of, we've spoken about this quite a bit on Transmission, is finding yourself in the media. Ranma is in two ways a trans piece of media, right? Because firstly, it's a bit of a fantasy, right? God, wouldn't it be nice if there was a magic hot spring that just did that to you? That would make everything
Except
easier.
for Ranma. Ranma's I don't ever want to go in there. It actually sucks.
Except for someone who doesn't feel comfortable in that body. And there's the other way you interpret it, right? I see myself in Ranma in that Ranma is stuck in a body that does not suit them, and I want to be able to change that.
And
magically.
they're I need to get dry so I can feel better.
That's definitely part of it. We've all been there.
Another trans character that recently,
Please.
because I got the new Nintendo Switch 2 recently.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, I know, I'm so excited. And I've been playing the new Mario Kart World, and I've unlocked Birdo.
Yeah!
And I was like pleasantly surprised to see Birdo. Birdo is canonly trans woman character. I think she's a pink elephant.
It's kind of like
or something elephant-like.
It's an unclear fantasy creature of lizard-like form.
Yes.
With like some little. And,
she doesn't have the great origin story.
No, and like a tube mouth situation.
Yeah, like a elephant's nose. There's like so there's some sort of cinema, and she's really pink, and she's got like a really big bow on her head, and she's just so cute.
And
anyway,
she's got a huge ring, by the way. Congrats to her on the engagement. I don't know if you've seen. She's got a gigantic diamond ring.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's great.
Oh, okay. Well, just thought I'd give a plug to Birdo and her giant ring. Congratulations on your
and that's
engagement.
on Trans Love.
Yeah.
It's out there, folks. You just got to look for it.
And you might find it in little places like the new Mario Kart. Whoa! The time has escaped us all.
It's been flying.
It has been flying. Yeah, we've... thank you for tuning in for Transmission this morning on Tuesday.
Keeping it serious.
Yes, keeping it serious. If you're interested as well... which, if you're a 4ZZZ subscriber, you might well be. It is 50 years of 4ZZZ this year, and we're celebrating and commemorating such an occasion with many, many months of celebrations.
4ZZZ is celebrating 50 years of people-powered radio. For all those decades, Z has been broadcasting boundary-pushing music, news, culture, and activism. From the 8th of August to the 8th of December, we'll be hosting a range of gigs, panel discussions, exhibitions, and more to recognise and celebrate our communities. Z will be popping up all over the city, and there is something for everyone. Head to 4zzz.org.au to check out what we have planned and get ready to celebrate 50 years of 4ZZZ.
So, from Radiothon, August 8th to December 8th, they'll be rolling out a series of events to honour not only the 50 years of independent music and media, but also our vast community of volunteers and supporters. If you head to the 4ZZZ website, 4ZZZ.org.au, right there, smack bang on the main page, just announced today, you'll see a bunch of different events that are coming up, including the return of an epic Z fundraiser called Beer Stock, and there's also another Market Day Market Day Festival coming up on the 25th of October. These are ones that I'm just really most excited about. But go take a look. There's a bunch of other events. There'll be more being announced throughout the next coming months. And we're so excited for 50 years of this extraordinary radio station. So yeah, check all that out. Yeah, thank you so much, Ray, for coming in and joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you on air again, no doubt.
Yes, I'm trans.
Really?
I wasn't really sure what to say to that. I was like, yes.
Oh my god.
Do you have a bottle of water? I can.
Here's your hot spring guy. Link me up.
Yeah, amazing. Wait, is this why trans people drink so much tea and coffee?
That's absolutely
is that
it.
why?
It's actually very possible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Transmission. See you next Tuesday, 9 to 10 a.m. on 4ZZZ.